Okay guys, so we are over here back at the passenger side. The last thing you saw me do was take the trans cable off the trans. Now, another thing you're gonna need to do, you're gonna need to get the black heater core connections off the heater core. There's a little, like, I wouldn't call that clear, it's like a little brown one, kind of, call it what you want, and then you've got a black one right here. Also, you have a ground strap, an engine ground strap right here. It's going to the engine right there, kind of right behind the DPF, and it goes to the cab right here. So disconnect that one. You've also got another chassis ground right here coming up and goes right there. They're 13 millimeters or 12 millimeters, something like that. I used a 13 and it worked, so I'm sticking with that. But get the two grounds off, one right there, one right there, and get your coolant heater core hoses off of the heater core connections. I went ahead and removed this little line going to the AC expansion valve. It's not all the way removed, it's still in here as you can see, but I just, I went ahead and disconnected it to kind of give myself some more room, because as you guys know, these little clips that these clips that hold these fucking connectors on for the heater core, they're a bitch. They work, but they don't work great. So just give yourself all the room you can so you don't break shit. But yeah, get that hose out of your way, get those hoses off the heater core, and get your two ground straps off, and should be good. Okay guys, we are back at the top now. One thing I'm gonna go ahead and do, I told you guys earlier, here's our harness for the fucking grill shutter. I told you guys this needs to come off, and it does. One thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna get this air box completely out of the way. I took the air filter out. I'm just gonna get it all the way out. You got a 10 mil right behind here holding it in. Most of them, it looks like, are just little grommets that kind of snug it in place. But yeah, I think it would be beneficial to just remove the whole air box, get it completely out of your way, because as you can see, there's some Christmas tree clips in here, right here. Let me get some more light over here. There are more Christmas tree clips that you need to get off, and so we're gonna get that out so we can get to those Christmas tree clips, and yeah, get those out of the way. Another thing I just found out, in order to get the air box out, you're gonna need to pull this piece out, that the grill, behind the grill, this little air duct, get it out, and then, because it connects to your air box right there. So once you have this out, and to get this out, all you need to do is get that Christmas tree clip out, and then you should be able to pull the rest of the air box out. Let me verify. And I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry this is so, kind of choppy, like I'm here, I'm there. It's kind of how these are. I've never done one, so this is me learning as I go, and I hate it. It sucks. It makes for bad content, but it's the best I can do with these circumstances. Okay, yeah. So once you have that little air duct out, you should have not too many issues removing the air box, but I'm having some issues. Okay, well, I'm gonna get that out. As you can see, it's coming. It's just being a bitch. All right, and as you can see, air box is out. Kind of helps when you have your coolant tank loose. And but yeah, see these Christmas tree clips? Those two there, that one there. Need to get those out, that one there, so that you're not tugging on this stuff when you're going up with the cab. Also, this is the coolant line that goes to this nipple. Get that off, because this is going to stay with the cab. You can tuck it somewhere if you can find a spot. And yeah, guys, I know this looks intimidating. This looks like it's a lot, and it is. It is a lot, but you got to lift and you got a scan tool. You can do this. I mean, it's really not. Again, it's really not all that bad. It looks worse than it is. And again, I can understand you're like, fuck that, I ain't doing that. But I promise you, even though I have never done this repair before, I can promise you it's gonna be so much easier getting to that turbo and all the bullshit that goes along with that turbo with the cab off. So that's the only reason I'm doing this. And again, I searched high and low for a video or something on fucking YouTube. Couldn't find nothing. So again, you know, I'm apologizing because at the end of the day, I'm trying to make a good video for you guys to follow and keep up with, but at the same time, it isn't a cakewalk. But again, it's not as like you would imagine. It's not impossible. It's definitely doable. But we're gonna go ahead and start getting these Christmas tree clips out of here. Try and push. Oh no, I ain't gonna push very well here. There it goes. It's kind of a bitch. Kind of a bitch. Ah. But we'll get it. There it goes. It's obviously easier to get these out from the other side, but I'm not on that side, and the way this bracket is, fuck you. Yeah, it's just gonna be a motherfucker. But anyways, you get the point. I still have not disconnected the, brakes yet down there, the brake lines, because I just don't want to have a whole bunch of brake fluid everywhere right now. I'm trying to wait and do that a little bit later so that I am not fighting a big mess on the floor, basically. I don't know how much of a mess it's gonna make, but I'd rather just not deal with it, if you know what I mean. One other thing I kind of want to touch on before we continue this video is I have said a lot of stuff that's wrong. Like if you go back into this video and you see where I say certain things are going to stay with the cab, it's so hard to tell right now because again, this is my first one, so I've said some wrong things. Just to kind of clear it up, I've said some wrong things. I hope that this video is still helping you guys because at the end of the day, I'm trying to show you what to do. So yeah, I know I've been back and forth a lot, up, down, there, here, there, but at the end of the day, I'm just doing my best to try and show you, and I'm trying to do it, you know, from a first-timer's point of view, perspective here. So that all being said, let's dive in. Last day to do this. So I just realized, I think the last thing you guys saw me do was remove that air box and things like that. Get that out of there. So I just talked to a buddy of mine. This Fender, the one that works for GM, told me this Fender is gonna need to come off. This Fender, it's like a little, you know, it's just a little Fender. It's got three, you can't probably not be able to see them too well. It's got 1, 2, 3 7mm bolts holding it on, and some clips. As you can see, this one is already fucked off, but clip there, and yeah, should be able to pop the fender right out, and you need to do it on both sides. Same thing on this side. So here's that fender. Same thing, clips, 3 bolts, get it off. So essentially, from what I understand, that fender is covering up a bracket that you're gonna have to kind of finagle to get the cab up. So there's that. And this bracket that I'm talking about that's being covered up by this fender apparently is not on the GMCs. So if you're doing this on a 2019 and up GMC, you shouldn't have this issue. Do not quote me on that. I don't know that for an absolute fact, but that's what I understand to be true. So I will go ahead and grab my 7mm, which I have right here. Let's see if I can't. Okay, so the bolts are out of it. Now, oh yeah, easy peasy. As you guys saw, that just came right off. I mean, no biggie. Now, trying to figure out what bracket he's telling me about or talking about. I don't see, I mean, I see lots of brackets, but I can't tell which one is going to be the issue here. But anyways, guys, as you saw, that, you know, 37mm bolts and some push tabs, you pull it right off. Okay, so I've got the other side off as well. And you know what? Since I didn't do it yesterday, and it's gonna have to be done, I'm gonna go ahead and do my brake lines right here, take those off, get those covered up with some gloves. I'm just gonna use some gloves and zip ties. Remember, 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 there. Okay guys, so these are a 13mm, and we're gonna break them loose right here at the block. And once you get the nuts loose, like I said, you're gonna see some brake fluid coming out. Hard to see it, but it's seeping out of the block already. So just make sure you get some gloves and zip ties ready. Alrighty guys, and as you can tell, got them all off, got gloves on them. If I was you guys, I would take the paint pins you use to mark your lines and mark them higher up on the line like I've done here. So white, yellow, red. I say that because we all know brake fluid is it strips paint, okay? It takes paint right the fuck off. So, very hydroscopic, I think is the word. But regardless, just put some other line somewhere else on the line so that brake fluid doesn't rub it off, and you know exactly where it goes. So now that the brake lines are off, we got these fenders off. Man, I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm gonna start pulling cab bolts and trying to come up with this cab and see what happens, because I think I'm about there. I'm almost confident that I am going to be snugging, tugging, pulling on something. Don't know what, but as I go up, I will start to let you guys know, you know, what's going on, what I'm tugging on, what I'm pulling on. Oh, like I said, behind this fender sits a bracket. I still got to figure out, well, there's a bracket here, I mean, brackets underneath here. So I don't know which bracket he's telling me about that's going to cause me this issue, but I got to find out, and once I find out, I'll let you guys know. But for the most part, guys, I think we're pretty much there. So let me find out what I can find out, and I'll be back with you guys and let you know. Alrighty guys, so the bracket that sits right here, okay, is coming off. I just talked to my buddy. It's right here. It's what it looks like. Okay, that's basically how it's gonna look on the truck. As a matter of fact, I still have it on the driver's side, haven't taken it off yet. And all it is 10mm bolts holding it on. You've got 2 right there, 1 right there, another 1 right there. You've got like a total of 6 bolts in this bracket holding it on. And I believe only like 1 of them, which is right there, that back one that you can kind of see, that one you cannot get to with a socket. So you need a long 10mm wrench or something, you know, ratcheting wrench, something to get that out, because it's just too far in there and it's covered up, and so you can't get a socket on it. Not really, but yeah, that bracket needs to come off. Here are my brake lines. So guys, I will touch on this a little later, but essentially you don't really want to do this. If you have something to shove in the line, like a plug of some sort, to keep the line from draining all the fluid out, that's really ideal. That's kind of really more what you want, because this has now bled my master cylinder dry. And I didn't have anything to, you know, put in there to stop it, so this was the best thing I had. So we'll cover that, you know, when I go back on with everything. But yeah, we want to make sure that we bleed this properly now, because we have essentially drained the whole master cylinder of brake fluid. But yeah, guys, let me go ahead and get this bracket off, and I think after that, man, I'm gonna start pulling these cab bolts. and we'll be going up. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll get back to you, and we'll see how this works out. Alrighty, so we're gonna start taking off these cab mounts. There are 4 on each side. I think I've kind of already been over that, but they are a 21 millimeter. I'm gonna go at it with a 1/2 inch drive and kind of go from there, see what happens. But I believe once I get all 4 or all 8 out, I'm sorry, once I get all 8 out, I believe that we're gonna be able to come up with this cab, no problem. And keep in mind what I said about if you had running boards and the brackets are utilizing the cab mount bolts, then obviously just put those in a safe spot so you can put them back where they were. There's one. That is the front passenger, and I'll be honest, that came out pretty clean, pretty nice. The Dodges, the Dodges would always, and I'm sure the Fords are the same. The Dodge and the Fords, I think, you know, the Dodge, the front cab bolt, the front cab bolt on each side, passenger and driver, would always seize, and I think it's because they use a cheap ass piece of shit weld nut in there. And that weld nut breaks off, so it just flops around, and then you end up having to cut a cab bolt out and all that fun stuff. So also try and keep an idea of which bolt went where, because some of these bolts might be longer than others, so it's a good idea to just make sure you're putting them back in the same spot. Alrighty, we got all of our cab bolts out. We're gonna set it down on our jack stands, and we're going to lift the cab up. Alrighty guys, so we got her up. You probably saw me fucking with this ratchet strap. Couldn't find the right fucking size to get it in that damn hole, but we finally got her. But anyways, you just want to make sure when you're pulling cabs are heavy, believe it or not. They're fucking heavy, they add some weight. So when we're doing this, it's just good to secure the cab to the lift. You just don't want the you know, cab tilting forward on you at all or nothing like that. But guys, we got her up, and I am probably not going to make a setting down video because I feel like it's a little unnecessary. Obviously you're just gonna go back and do everything that you just took off, you're gonna put back on essentially. So yeah, there she is. We're doing a turbo on this, so I don't know if I'm gonna make a video about the turbo or not. To be honest with you, I kind of need to get this truck going. I need to step it up a notch on the speed, and it's kind of hard to do that and record, so haven't decided on that yet. But we got the cab up, guys. I'm glad that glad we got it. I'm glad you guys stuck around with me to get it here, because at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's a pain in the ass, but if you know what you're doing, if you got a good concept of what you're doing, it's really not that bad. But here she is in all her glory, and yeah, doesn't look so bad when it's like this now, does it? Yeah, looks like someone left out a trans mount bolt or a bell housing bolt. But alrighty, I'm gonna get to get to looking at what it's gonna take to get this turbo out, and I will be back with you guys when I have an idea if I'm gonna make a video or not. Peace out. Appreciate y'all watching. Probably have this up here pretty soon. But yeah, y'all be good. Dukes Diesel's out, baby.